Hello, my name is Ramon Bassett, your host, along with our producer, Brennan Lembrick. Brennan, last episode we talked about iris technology with Therese Scarletti from Princeton Identity. We discussed how using the iris for access control identification is the safest and most accurate biometric available. She also shared how the technology works, along with its ability to determine a real iris versus a spoof iris, and what the legal ramifications of enrolling employees into the system. So I'm excited again. Today's topic is how to integrate operations and tenant amenities under one access control platform.
And amenities as it relates to apartment complexes, luxury communities, and even office buildings are a necessity and expected by people who are looking for a place to live or rent, office space included. Good property management companies or building owners recognize this need. However, they also have their day-to-day operations that need to be taken care of. Many times they use more than one program to accomplish both functions. Today's guest, Ramon, is Antonio Torres with one of our partners, VTS Rise. They provide an integrated access control solution for office buildings, multi-tenant housing, and luxury apartment communities.
All right. Hi, Antonio.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. Doing good. Welcome to Cyber Connect, and thank you for joining us. And so you're joining us from sunny Florida, aren't you?
Yeah, joining you guys from sunny Florida. I guess Chicago expat, for about a year now, almost exactly a year, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And so headed here in a couple months or so, you'll be really enjoying life as we get back to the grind of cold.
Yeah. The one thing I don't miss. Lots of things I miss about the city, but the cold isn't one of them.
Yeah, definitely. So to start, why don't you give our listeners a quick background of yourself and why you decided to work for VTS Rise?
I'm Antonio Torres. I'm a senior solutions executive here at VTS Rise. Been with the company for about 2.5 years. Prior to VTS Rise, spent about 17 years in the building technology space. Joined VTS Rise a couple years back when one of my colleagues made the leap from corporate America to this small Chicago-based startup that was a total technology solution that many commercial and multifamily companies were looking for. And so after spending some time with the leadership of this company, who I knew was very well respected in the industry and actually was a previous client of mine, I was very impressed by the technology. I was even more impressed by the agility and innovation that this small company did versus the very large companies that I was working with that were very slow to move and slow to connect these different technologies together. And so decided to join the company, and glad I did, because I really feel like I'm part of something that's really changing the industry.
Yeah, well, that's exciting to be able to have that. Not many people have that opportunity to be able to get in on almost the ground floor of something that's good. Now, why did they start this new business? What was the impetus of them trying to start this new business?
Yeah, so actually, one of our co-founders, Prasan Kale, he was, again, like I said, well respected in the commercial real estate industry. He did everything from operating buildings to developing those buildings. And what he noticed was that he was spending a lot of money on all these technology solutions, but he noticed that, not everybody was using them. And so he was like, okay, is there a way that I can go and connect all of these technologies together? And by doing so, provide not just a better experience for my building occupants, but also drive some higher operational efficiencies and overall improve satisfaction of the folks in the building.
Yeah, so that leads us right into question one that I have for you is, what are some of those hassles that property management companies deal with by using more than one app or software or trying to piecemeal different things to be able to provide those amenities on the one hand, but also maintaining operational efficiency. So, what are some of those hassles?
Yeah, well, property managers, they have a lot to deal with, and it's not just the technology piece. They're dealing with leasing, they're dealing with work orders, maintenance, access control of the buildings, occupant satisfaction, and many other administrative tasks. And so many of the times, the systems that they're using to administer all of these functions are separate, and from one another, and really have no way of passing data back and forth. This really leads to operational inefficiencies by them having to enter in the same information in three or more systems in every building. And so on the occupant side, for the building occupants, having too many systems to interact with does multiple things. One, it minimizes the value of the individual technologies or individual apps that they're using. It can create unnecessary confusion or frustration. What am I using to get into the building or log into this or issue a work order? All of that, gets handled by having that one total technology solution. Having multiple technologies also reduces the overall technology or engagement with the property, right? Because they're literally using the technology that they feel is of value, and all the rest that definitely can do things like improve their experience or whatever it might be. The investment of why that property made that technology investment just really gets lost. So loses over that overall engagement, actually can negatively affect the occupant satisfaction, right? So if you've got to go to all these different things just to live or work in a building, it really can negatively affect the way that I see and interact with that property.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, rent is skyrocketing, and for on the commercial and residential side, tenants, they're expecting something in return, and they expect something to be working and high quality and such. And so I could see where this would really benefit both sides of that. What are some of the amenities that, like, let's say a tenant would be able to use VTS Rise to be able to do, access?
Well, really, I mean, the platform allows you to it's highly configurable, and so it actually allows you to manage any amenity. And so an amenity can be anything from a conference room to a desk area, but it can also be things like, hey, I want a parking spot for my EV charger, or the bike rack, or I mean, we've seen things from telehealth, little telehealth rooms, and so what we're seeing is just more and more amenity spaces, and the ability of being able to control them. And one of the things that we can do, again, with being highly configurable, but also having the ability to incorporate not just the software reservation system, but some hardware pieces. We've actually been able to do things like control capacity in real time for amenity spaces. So, especially in the time of COVID, if you only wanted 10 people in the gym at any given time, those 10 people would make a reservation on our system. We would leverage our technology to actually verify that reservation once they got to the door, and if that reservation was verified, a little swipe to unlock would show up on the screen. They'd swipe and it'd unlock that door.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. And then you mentioned conference rooms, so like in business commercial offices, so you have multiple employees, and a lot of people are working obviously from home now, but they go into have they have a nice conference room that they want to be able to bring their prospects or clients to. So with your app, they'll be able to reserve the conference room. Is that what my understanding would
Absolutely.
be?
Yep, they'll be able to go in, reserve that conference room. They'll be able to, and in our system, we can incorporate things like, hey, does the room need to be a certain layout?
Hmm.
Do you need catering for that space? How many people are going to be in that space? The other thing that we're able to do is incorporate a public booking portal. So again, there with more and more people working from home, there might be some underutilized amenity spaces, and what we're able to do is actually post a public URL. So if somebody that's not a part of that building, say it's a smaller building across the street, they can actually go onto the building's website and book an amenity space and pay for it right on the platform.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, so that also can provide some extra revenue for a business if they wanted to do that. Like a lot of
Absolutely.
I could see this could benefit co-working offices as well. I would imagine based on what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so let's say one of our listeners, they are really, interested in doing something like this. What would it look like to, let's say, okay, we have to multi-tenant apartment building. What would a common setup look like for an apartment building? And then also what would it look like for a commercial, for an office? I know you can customize, but what would it look like, the um, access and what can be utilized?
Yeah, and as you know, I mean, every single building's needs are unique, right? They've already incorporated different types of technology, and so it is, a difficult question. But one of the things that we do, we have noticed that there are specific features that really help drive adoption, and as a result, increase that engagement at the property. And so, first and foremost, we have our platform itself, right? And so our platform is evergreen, meaning that we've got over 45 different software features, and all those features are included in the annual cost of our platform. So, highly configurable. It allows you to really take that platform, turn on the things that you're using, and then turn off the things that you're not. But your average setup at a multifamily residential property, for example, is you're going to want to leverage as much of the native functionality as possible, right? So you want to, again, drive the value in what you have on the app. And so one of the big drivers on the multifamily residential side is our native visitor management system. That native visitor management system allows users to basically pre-credential their visitors. When those visitors arrive on site, they can take that pass and scan it at one of our full feature video intercoms. So, that's going to allow them to basically gain access as a pre-credentialed visitor. Depending on the technology that they've installed, we can actually get somebody up an elevator via that same pass and actually in the suite. And so it's a classic example there would be like your dog walker, a cleaning person, being able to get them from the curb to the suite simply by providing them a pass, right? So that is a huge driver. Another big driver is, again, incorporating things like mobile credentials. So being able to use your phone instead of a key card or fob at a property. And so, leveraging our integrations that we've built for smart lock technology and access control systems.
Mm-hmm.
Other common things that we see at multifamily properties are obviously the amenity reservation setups, being able to book those amenity spaces. We have our own package room solution. So again, it allows the property to basically snap a picture of a package label. Our system reads that label, sends a push notification to that resident, letting them know that they have a package. From that, we can set up like geographic smart alerts. So as soon as somebody walks through the front door, our system's going to pick them up, send them a push notification, reminding them to pick up that package.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then as well as things like digital screens, right? All that can be managed from the platform as well, and so you can from any monitor at the screen, you can send them building updates, you can send package notifications, weather or transit tracking, things like that. So those are common things that we do see in a multifamily space. On the commercial side, again, very similar drivers, being able to incorporate those mobile credentials with your access control system is huge, and it's a great driver of adoption and engagement. Leveraging that visitor management system. Again, these are things that properties have, and they're paying for separately, right? And so if you can incorporate it and manage it all from one place, it's really a great opportunity, and it's what these properties are looking for. So leveraging that visitor management system that we have in place, leveraging the access control system. Again, on the multifamily on the commercial side, managing those amenities, common area amenity spaces is huge. And so we have things like booking tablets that can go outside of these spaces, which basically is a physical representation of what's happening at that space, if it's in use or available.
So I can see how that can really save the property manager's time to be able to do that instead of going back and forth to the various other systems they've been using. And with having that set up like that, the visitor management I think is huge as well, to be able to do that. So to be able to know who's on property at what time for safety, and also the messages you send, they can send emergency messages as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So they can leverage our mass notification and emergency messaging system right from the platform. So they can send building occupants updates via push notification in the app, email, text message, and an automated phone call. So, those folks that maybe don't have a smartphone or didn't download the app for whatever reason are still going to receive those notifications in the event of an emergency.
Nice. All right. So describe for our listeners how utilizing VTS Rise can build community within a property.
For sure. And so, beyond providing those operational benefits, so ease of use and that engagement of the platform, the platform actually helps properties with retention, right? So, the longevity of their tenants, as well as the engagement, which again incorporates many things, but actually the increased sense of community is actually one of them. So our platform has a moderated, building specific private social network where occupants can post thoughts, content. Building can also post on there as well. We also include features like a group messaging, where folks can actually set up, send direct messages to their neighbors. They can do things like set up groups, so like your book clubs or running clubs and things like that, or it just helps kind of people kind of really leverage similar interests, right? And you may not know that the guy on the fifth floor is into stand-up paddleboarding, right? And you go every Saturday, so you set up a club and see what's going on. So it's really a way to kind of, bring those occupants together and in turn kind of increase that community.
Yeah,
Um,
with COVID and everybody being so disjointed in a way, I can see how that can bring that community together and feel like they're connected. And yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we also have a built-in events manager on our platform. And so what that does is allows the building to create events. So, if they're creating events for their building population, getting those folks together in a more social environment. But, not just the building can create those events, the occupants can as well. And
Mm.
so, if they're going to have a barbecue by the pool or whatever it might be, they can post that
Uh,
on the platform and get together with many of their neighbors.
that's neat. That's
Um,
neat. Yeah.
yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I can. Wow, I can see how people can get excited about that and
so,
feel. Yeah, I can see how it can be retention and everything. That's great. So now, since your system can bring all these together under one platform, does does your platform integrate with their existing access control, their locks and readers, or is this something that they have to rip and replace everything to take advantage of your program?
it's a great question, Ramon. VTS Rise is actually a great retrofit solution. What we've done, one of our biggest differentiators is our deep integrations to multiple systems. We've built a very kind of industry leading integrations list in our platform, and that really is what makes it a great retrofit. We like to work with the technology that you have in place, and we have the ability to do so in a couple different fashions. One of them is a deep integration that's leveraging specific APIs or SDKs to communicate with the technology that you have in place. The other thing that we have is that we're vertically integrated, meaning that we've got both hardware and software. And so
Mm,
between having those deep integrations, we also have the ability to leverage our hardware, which is a huge differentiator between us and other systems out there. That hardware allows us to do, different functionality than you can do just via software, right? And so
right.
leveraging things like web-based relays to fire garage doors or openings, or really anything that can take that dry contact closure. We're kind of it, some of the things that properties see us as is kind of like a middleware between the technology that they have in place, right? And so they've got, again, all these disparate technology solutions. How do we get the data to flow seamlessly between them? And Rise really helps to do that, right? We can take information from their leasing platform, um, automatically go pull that resident or building occupant profile. We can get automatically pull a mobile credential for the access control system, send that information
Oh,
to that access control system. In the same time, we can also send the information to the entry kiosk. We can also do things like if there's charges or anything that might be on somebody's profile, we can actually sync those with their accounting system. So again, it gives a lot of flexibility, a lot of ways that we can, leverage the existing technology that they've put in place.
well, that's great. That's really will because everyone has their budgets, and especially if it's a large multi-tenant community or office building, they want to see this. But I could just say, well, if I could just get my foot in the door and using this, and then maybe the next year budget, I can start replacing some of the hardware with yours or whatever option there is.
Absolutely, and we always, give them the option to leverage or add on technology as they have the budget to do so.
Yeah, that's great. And I also can see like on new builds too, new construction, to where like engineers, architects, general contractors really could work in putting this in their new buildings
Absolutely, yeah.
from the start.
We work with architects, engineers to help design really, again that total technology solution for these new builds, right? So just because they've put the technology in place, sometimes they say, hey, must work with X, Y, and Z. Some companies really just don't have the ability to do that, and so that's where we kind of come in, understand the experience that those engineers or that developer is looking to provide to their building occupants, and we really tailor the solution around being able to do so. And with that, we can help recommend other technologies so that we can really provide that seamless experience.
Right. Yeah. And if somebody was interested in that, they can reach out to me and we'll set something up with you and I, and we'll go walk their site or meet in the look over blueprints or help with the configuration. And
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. So, Antonio, thank you very much for being our guest on this episode of Cyber Connect and for sharing how how it can benefit both property management side, the tenant side, and then how we can really build community. And I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, great. So if you're tired of having multiple platforms to provide amenities to your tenants and operate your building, please reach out to me and we can schedule a demo. We can get Antonio scheduled to where we can show you how this works in more detail. We can do, like I said earlier, a site walk. And you can reach me at 630-317-5657, or you can email me at rbassett@currenttech.net. You can also enjoy my weekly technology videos by following me on LinkedIn and YouTube at hashtag IT You Can Thrive On. And as I say goodbye, I want to thank our producer, Brennan, for making all this work, and our sponsor, Current Technologies. Until next time, be safe.